स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यामस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So am I audible?
Yeah.
So as I mentioned yesterday being Guru poorNimA here started on Saturday afternoon and ended on Sunday just around noon. So those who celebrate it in the morning would have done it on Sunday, and those who wanted to celebrate in the evening could have done it on Saturday, I'm guessing, in India. So it's a Guru poorNimA is the name of the Utsava. Very important day for those who are connected with the Shastra, for those who are studying the Shastra. Even those who may not be formally studying, but they appreciate that the role of the Guru, role of the teacher. So they talk about the importance of a Guru in one's life. Even the person doesn't know any Shastra, some families will have that in their consciousness. So for such people, this day is important. So we have Father's Day, we have Mother's Day, right? These days in India also it is a big thing. So we all want to look different, you know. We want to prove that we are not ordinary people. So we celebrate all these days. But long before America told us there was Father's Day, long before America told us there was something called Mother's Day, there was something called Guru's Day. Guru's Day. That Guru's Day is Guru poorNimA. So, for this person who is pursuing the study of the Shastra, three things are important. First thing is Ishvara, Bhagavan, important. And then Guru. And the third one is Shastra. These three are the most important entities in one's life. Other things are all important, of course. You know, food, shelter, clothing, all these are important. Nobody can deny that. Even Vyasa Maharshi needed a place to stay, and I'm sure he went and either he worked for his food or somehow his students may have given him food, something he also needed. So all these are needed, no doubt. But for the Parama Purushartha, now that you know what Purusharthas are, for moksha, these three become very important. For giving a direction to our life. These three are important. Ishvara is important because Ishvara's kripa is needed. Ishvara's grace is needed. Kataksham is needed for a situation to develop, which brings us to the Shastra. Without that Kataksham, this will not happen. Because our whole life is called prayers. It's driven by Artha, Kama and Dharma. Therefore, where is the question of moksha? The idea that there is something called moksha and I must pursue it, this cannot arise. It's not possible. It's really not possible. You can't decide to pursue it. It doesn't work like that. So, therefore, Ishvara Kataksham, then Guru. There must be somebody who must unlock the Shastra for us. And he or she shows us the Pramanam, the Shastra Pramanam. And Shastram, of course, is important because Shastram is the Pramanam. Pramanam for this, the nature of the self. What is the Lakshya of the human being? So here there is a shloka, and Ajivitam Trayaha Sevyaha Vedanto Guru Ishvaraha. Ajivitam Trayaha Sevyaha Vedanto Guru Ishvaraha. Ajivitam Sevyaha. One has to worship all one's life. Three things. Vedanto, Guru, Ishvara. Three things have to be worshipped. And then what? Adau Jnana Praptaye. Adau Jnana Praptaye. And then Paschat Kritagnyatva Nivrittaye. Adau Jnana Praptaye. In the beginning, I worship this triad of Ishvara, Guru and Shastram. Jnana Praptaye, for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of gaining knowledge. After that, what? Paschat Kritagnyatva Nivrittaye. Kritagnyata hai na? So somebody does something very big to us, we can't forget. And so we have that Kritagnyata. So, how to translate Kritagnyata? I remember now, we conducted a program to raise some money in Houston and for some social service projects. And we raised some money, and then we wanted to conduct a program to thank our donors. And we called that program as Kritagnyata. I think some of you will remember that. Kritagnyata. So Kritagnyata means, it's not saying thanks, really speaking, because thanks is transactional. You did something, therefore I thank you. But Kritagnyata means some kind of indebtedness is there. There is no way really I can thank you. No amount of thanking you is really going to be enough. And so I am, that attitude is there. Kritagnya, one who knows what was done very clearly and the magnitude of what was done. Kritagnyata. So Kritagnyata Nivrittaye. So after Jnanam, the Guru also, so-called Guru also, is also worshipping, because how can he thank or she thank? Can only thank by teaching. And that teaching is an offering, is the Kritagnyata to the Parampara. That is how this Nayam is alive today. If it is there, if we can listen to it and talk about it, it's because of our Guru Parampara. So that Parampara is being invoked today. Today means Guru poorNimA. And Vyasa traditionally has been invoked as the central figure in this Guru Parampara. Vyasa also had a Guru, and that Guru also had a Guru. So Parampara keeps going, and as we have seen, Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam. Or as we just chanted another shloka, Narayanam Padma Bhavam Vasishtam. Ishvara is there, Krishna is there. What is the shloka we chant? Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam. Sadgurum Tam Namami. So there is a shloka in Gita Dhyanam also. Krishna is called as Sadguru. So Jagat Guru. So like these words we have. How Vyasa can be Jagat Guru? How can Vyasa be Jagat Guru? Only a few people are studying Vedanta. And where is the question of Jagat Guru? It's like somebody who just says, I am the greatest, So, Jagat Guru is possible only when there is a fact being unfolded. An undisputable fact, correct? And which helps everybody, regardless of their background, regardless of where they are, which part of the world, regardless of what knowledge, what language they speak. If it applies, then only the person who talks about that can be considered as a Jagat Guru. So that's how the tradition comes here. Otherwise, if what is being communicated is something to be believed, then anybody can say, no, I don't believe in this. This doesn't make sense. Or I don't want to believe in this. So this is all after death and all that. And who knows what happens after death. You're asking me to believe, and I can't believe in this. Heaven and this and that, it doesn't make sense. Somebody can say that and walk away. So Jagat Guru, not possible. When the message to be conveyed is something about Vaikuntha, Kailasha, or some heaven, where you go and stay with Ishvara forever. So this kind of idea is a belief-based idea. And here, that is why no Vedanta teacher will say, believe what I say. Believe what I say. It happens only in the churches and other places, they will say believe. That belief is so important. It is so important that if you say something if you question something, they will say what? They will say something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. So that is why this tradition has nothing to do with all those Abrahamic traditions. And so that word Guru itself is very unique to this tradition. So we see many teachers, of martial arts, of classical music, Hindustani, Carnatic, any other art form, dance, where this engagement is needed. A teacher is needed, without which that cannot be learned, really speaking. So there, the teachers are addressed as Guru by the word Guru. So we see that very common. Still, the traditional meaning of Guru is, as we have seen in class, Mahavakya Upadesha Karta. Sir, a reminder, Mahavakya Upadesha Karta. Upadesha Karta, the one who gives the Upadesha, means one who teaches about what is called Mahavakya. Mahavakya, which is the grand equation. The grand equation, Jiveshwara Aikyam. I am the Jiva, and there is something called Ishvara. And I hear that Ishvara is all pervasive also. And I hear Ishvara is Sarvajnaha, all omniscient. Interesting word. And Sarva Shaktiman, he is the creator, he is the this, he is the that. We've seen so many things about Ishvara. That Ishvara, and I am the Jiva created by the Ishvara. And the Vedanta comes and says, there is no essential difference between Jiva and Ishvara. How is it possible? How can the Jiva and Ishvara be? How can there be sameness? Difference is very clear. Difference is crystal clear to me. And now Vedanta says they are essentially identical. It's not possible. It's really not possible. It's really not possible. See, there was a lady walking on a beach, and suddenly it seems this bottle, she tripped over a bottle, and she shook it up, took it up, and suddenly a genie came out of the bottle. Now, it seems this genie is always hiding in a bottle. That is a Western tradition, or what tradition, I don't know. So genie came out. And maybe the Middle Eastern tradition. Yeah, joke should change. In the Middle East, somewhere in the beach, the lady was walking, and she came up, and then this genie came out. And the genie was so happy. He said, "You freed me, so you please ask something. Ask one boon." No, can you give me 3 boons? No, I'm different genie. This is modern version, just one. Too many people. So I just reduced it to one. So she said, being from the Middle East, she picked up a map, because the genie may not have seen this map. The world has changed a long time, been constantly changing. See, look at these areas. This is Israel, this is Palestine, this is other countries, Turkey, this is Iran, this is Iraq, Saudi Arabia. All these countries are there. They're constantly fighting with each other. And I've not seen peace in this area for a long time. So I want, please give peace, bestow peace to this part of the world. The genie was moved, and the genie said, "My God, I've done so many things, and people ask me so many things. I want this, I want that, I want a big palace, I want this, and I never heard something like this before. And you are asking for peace in this world, this part of the world. But ma'am, you must be out of your mind. These people have been fighting for ages, and ever since history, wherever history started, they've been fighting and killing each other. And I'm pretty good, but I'm not that good. I can't do this. I can't do this. You please ask something else." So she was a bit disheartened, and but she said, I've been married for many years, and I want my husband to be more compassionate, and he's constantly watching sports TV. He comes back from work and watches sports TV all day long. And weekends he gets his friends and then keeps on making noise at home. And this is not life. And I'm trying to spend some time study Vedanta. And I also want him to attend these Jayakumarji's classes. And the genie looked at her. Then she said, "Ma'am, can you show me that map again?" So, so there are some things that are not possible, correct? Some things won't work out. Not possible. So genie also accepts some things are not possible. So like that, this Jiveshwara Aikyam, how is it possible? It's like telling the ant, you are no different than the elephant. It's not acceptable. So because the subject matter is like this, and because there is somebody, we saw that in Bhagavad Gita, now we can invoke what we studied, Ascharyavat Pashyati Kaschidenam, Ascharyavat Vadati Tathaiva Chanyaha, Ascharyavat Chainam Anya Shrimoti, Shrutva Pienam Vedana Chaiva Kaschit. So, under these circumstances, somebody comes and says, our lineage comes and says, there is an identity between Jiva and Ishvara. So we cannot but look at this subject with a lot of awe. And because it is something to understand, it challenges us. It says this is a fact. You have a mind, you are endowed with a buddhi, and you think it through. It's not magic, it's logical, and try to refute it. So it has kept, so our tradition, people have given up their lives to think about it and to understand it, to teach it. Companies do spend money on R&D, research and development. Only then all these new products come. So our rishis also did a lot of R&D, and they were successful. Now, even though R&D was done, that is just an example. The people are changing in the parampara, but the subject matter doesn't change at all. No new versions are being created of Vedanta. What version can you create? Jiva is bigger than Ishvara. That's a great idea. I like that idea. I wish, like this fellow, Mahabali, was he scared Shiva? He got a bone and then he scared Shiva. So like that, I want to be bigger than that person. So that being the case, this parampara becomes very important to us because of the teaching that is involved. And here, we are not really worshipping a person. The person is a nimitta. A nimitta means the person, it is like going to the temple and you see a murti in front of you. You see Ganesha, murti of Ganesha. You see a murti of Sri Rama. And you do puja and you worship. You offer your prayers. Are you offering the prayers to that murti, that piece of stone that is carved, which is now adorned with some clothes, etc.? Is that what you're doing? It appears that we are doing that. But really speaking, no. You are, of course, you're not worshipping that piece of stone. You are worshipping the Ishvara that is invoked in that piece of stone. Very important to remember. Not having understood that, people say we are all idol worshippers. This idol worship idea comes from this. And it's okay if they say that and still we understand the tatparyam behind it, but they convert it to something else. Thou shalt not worship an idol. This is the other side. So we don't worship idols. It's called Murti Puja. Murti Puja, correct? Murti. And Murti, that too, Ishvara invoked in a Murti. Otherwise, it is just an object. So like that, where Ishvara is invoked and worshipped. So in our puja, that's why one of the steps in the puja, those of you who've done puja, you will see that first Asmin Bimbe Shri Ramachandram Avahayami. Asmin Murtau Shri Vinayakam Ganapatim Avahayami. Right? Means what? I first Dhyayami. Asmin Murtau Shri Mahaganapatim Dhyayami. First I meditate on Ganapati. As though Ganapati is, and then as though he's coming to this murti. Correct? Why do you have to do that? Even though I see Ganesha right in front of me. Very nice carved sandalwood murti is there in front of me. That's not enough. You have to visualize Ganesha coming to that murti. First step in the puja. Very important step. But it's okay. So we need that Ganesha so that my mind can visualize him and can do the puja. So like that, here in Guru poorNimA, we use our Guru, our teacher, as a nimittam to invoke the entire Guru Parampara. And what they do in some ashrams, the tradition is that there will be, they invoke 16 teachers in the parampara. So they will start from the current teacher, his teacher, her teacher, his teacher, like that, going back, whatever. 16 is a tradition. Need not be 16 successive teachers, it can be 16 teachers. Like that, there is a parampara. And they will invoke that in 16 pots of water. In kumbhas, they will invoke. That's a tradition. Now, if I am fundamentally ignorant, I start my life with ignorance. If I am fundamentally ignorant, I cannot know. I cannot know because the ignorance is my nature. If I am knowledgeable, then I need not know because I am knowledgeable. But then what happens? From ignorance, life starts, and then I come to know more and more and more and more and more things. Our life is all like that. How is it possible? How can one know something being ignorant? Being ignorant of something. This is a miracle. This is, our rishis have spent time on this. How can one come to know something? No, knowledge takes place. Yeah, knowledge takes place. But how it takes place, this is a very important subject in our tradition. And so here, suppose Ishvara comes and says, I am all-knowing Ishvara. He says. She says, I am all-knowing Ishvara. And I say, I am a bhakta. I am small-knowing. You are all-knowing. I am small-knowing. You know, small, chota, just little bit knowledge I have. I have just enough knowledge that I could see and recognize. Because recognizing Ishvara is not easy. That knowledge also is important. So I am very small-knowing. You are all-knowing. But we studied, in our study now we know. When somebody says, I am something, that something rests in that I, which is consciousness, which is chit. Only then the person can say it. That all knowledge rests in consciousness. And if Ishvara were to ask me, who are you? What will we say? This Rama asked Hanuman, who are you? And Hanuman said, if I look at myself as the body, I am your bhakta. I'm your bhakta. I'm your devotee. And if I look at myself as my mind, then I am really a part of you because my mind is always in you. If I look at myself as Atma, then I am you. Then I am you. I am not different from you. This is the answer. I don't know where it came from, who said all that, I don't know the history. But this is a beautiful response, dialogue between Rama and Hanuman. So, if Ishvara were to ask me, who are you? I can give any number of answers. I can joke with him. I can say, what do you mean, who are you? You are Sarvajna and you are asking me who I am. I want to know who I am. That's a good answer. I want to know who. You tell me. I'm confused. And you tell me who I am. I'm so confused. They say, Jiveshwara Aikyam and all that. And you are the right person to teach me that. I can give that answer. But if I say, I am Bhakta, I am this, I am that, if I say, then that I, is that different from the Ishvara's I who says, I am Sarvajna? I'm all knowing. No, not different. Cannot be different. That I, Ishvara's I, is also consciousness, all pervasive, limitless consciousness, which is no different than I. When I say I, it refers to the same thing. So that Sarvajñatvam rests on consciousness. And so our Shastram says, I can know. The reason I'm able to know starting from ignorance is because all knowledge already rests in me. Huge step. Look at the huge step. All knowledge already rests in me. But then how I don't know? I must be Sarvajña. I must know everything if all knowledge is in me. That is the question that arises. Then Shastram uses a word called avarana. There is something called avaranam. There are inhibiting factors. Like the cloud is covering the sun. Sun is always shining. All brilliance is there. But there is some covering. There is a cloud cover. And therefore the sun's brilliance is not visible. There is an eclipse. Therefore the sun's brilliance is not visible. That's the idea. So avaranam, very important. And so what does the guru do? What does the teacher do? The teacher creates conducive situations that are conducive for removing that avarana. That is all the teacher can do. The teacher cannot create the knowledge because knowledge already is there. Who is the teacher to create this knowledge? The companies have created this idea of patenting. So you discover something, invent something, immediately patent. Belongs to me. And get royalties and this and that. Company can do all that. But here, when we say that knowledge cannot really be created, it already is there for you to see. Either you see it or you don't see it. Then who is a guru then? A guru is one who creates a situation so that you are able to see, the student is able to see the fact. Correct? Remove that avarana and the fact becomes very clear. Very important. So you talk to these teachers these days. I talk to people, parents I talk to, and all because of lockdown, they're all children, they say they're doing online. And teachers are new to this online business. And children in the second grade and third grade and all, they are getting videos on WhatsApp. And you hear some of the horror stories because the teacher doesn't really know how to teach. It's not like they got they went to a workshop, 1 week workshop, how to teach online. Did the government conduct all these things? No, nothing. And you teach online. And so they are doing some awkward things. I saw some videos. Very awkward. And then there are teachers who are conscientious and they are struggling. They said, my God, how am I going to teach my children all these things? They make a lot of effort in class. And now I'm supposed to sit in front of a camera and teach. So they struggle. They struggle. I talked to somebody, one of our classmates, Hemalata ji, the other day. She was saying she is a teacher. And I used to teach 3-4 classes and I used to enjoy it. Now after 4 classes, I am just tired. Why? Because that person struggles. How do you communicate something? How do you remove this avarana? And you need to see the children. You need to engage with them. You need to see them physically, make eye contact. So many things are involved in this. And so this tradition really worships this. The people who are themselves are gifted. They did not create all these things. Just Ishvara Prasada. This is why we start the classes with a prayer. We end the class with prayer because it's just magic. There is There is no rule that says somebody should know something. Nothing is not written anywhere. Somebody has to come and then appreciate this whole tradition and methodology. And then that's why you have teachers, school teachers, some of whom are able to do an excellent job because they're all gifted. How many classes we have been to and we have come out of these classes saying, oh my God, another year. How am I going to put up with another year of this fellow? Okay, how many classes, how many teachers? So it's very clear that this miracle that happens, that I am able to know something more. I can then know something more, and I can know something. So that process is something that we worship. We guard it, we respect it. We say this we saw earlier. Buddhi is the only thing that distinguishes the human being from an animal. Buddhi, this ability to know. And so our Shastram just protects that, recognizes that ability and worships it. So, and some of you who know this Guru Stotra, Akhanda Mandalakaram Yaptam Yena Characharam, right? So there, Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, like that. So there also, look at that. So, Ajnana Timirandhasya, the person who is like the cataract covers the eye, fine covering of the eye is there, which prevents a person from seeing properly. So that kind of a timira, cataract, is covering the eye, just like that. Ajnana timirandasya, like that the ignorance is covering this person. Then what? Jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena. That chakshu means netram, eye. Unmilitam yena. This person opens the eyes, as it were. Chakshuhu unmilayati. Unmilitam yena. And how does the guru, he or she do that? Jnananjana shalakaya. Correct? Jnananjana shalakaya. So shalaka. Shalaka is a needle. Shalaka. And by the needle of knowledge, and he removes the covering. What covering? Avarana. Removes the avarana. That's all the teacher can do. What else the teacher can do? It's an important thing, no doubt, but removes the avarana. So sometimes they say ointment, by the ointment of knowledge. So, removing of the cover. So in English, we have a beautiful word, discover. Discover is a perfect word. You only discover, constantly you discover. Perhaps it means dispelling the cover, dispelling that which covers my knowledge, or dismissing that which covers my knowledge, or something. I don't know the origin of this word. Somebody should look it up. Whether they really thought through it or not, we don't know. And so that discover is exactly what is happening. In every class, the student is made to discover, made to discover, made to discover every step of the way. Correct? So, and so that is what makes this whole process so awe-inspiring and so magical, and that we are gifted with that ability. Each of us is gifted, and therefore they say the teacher must have a lot of compassion. Correct? Because the process is like this. It's not an easy process. And the teacher must, of course, know the subject matter well. The teacher must understand, must be able to put himself or herself in the shoes of the students. Can't keep on saying, you idiot, you don't understand what I said. these words, coming out of teachers' mouths, how harsh it is, so painful to hear these words. And we've heard so many things when we grew up. And no, compassion is a requirement for every teacher. And because that love has to be there. The student must love to hear. The student at least should not be threatened. There cannot be any sense of threat that can come in between the teacher and the student. Otherwise, this knowledge cannot take place. So that extra ounce of compassion is needed in general teaching itself. Now here, why compassion is needed? In Vedanta Shastram, somebody comes, Ajnana Sarpadashta. Shastram gives this example. Ajnana Sarpadashta. Somebody comes and says, I am bitten by a snake. I'm bitten by a snake. And then you say, where, what, where? No, they're down below on my leg, right leg. I can't look at it. It's snake bit me. And you look at it closely and you can see very clearly there is a thorn. There's a thorn. So those days, this thorn problem is a big problem. We used to walk without shoes and slippers and then constantly thorn, and we remove it and we do it. We solve the problem ourselves only. We never ever came home, and occasionally if it gone deep, then the mother has to come and then take it out. So you see a thorn and you say, hey, there is a thorn. We can remove it. Don't worry. No, a snake bit me. And the other day also a snake bit somebody. I'm sure a snake bit me. Okay. Hey, it's not a snake. No, it is a snake. Now tell me, what will you do? He insists the snake has bitten. And if a snake has bitten him, you can give the right treatment. And whatever treatment is there, you can tie the leg up and you can cut and then get the blood out. All this you can do. And you can get other first aid, taken to hospital. This fellow says a snake is bit and there is no problem. There's really no problem. So the Shastram says, this suffering, so-called suffering that the human being talks about, is not legitimate. If there's a real problem, it can be solved. The problem is real. Of course, the problem is real, it can't be solved. Or if it has some kind of a topical cause, you can remove the topical cause, which we are all good at doing anyway. We're constantly solving problems and making our lives better and better and better. But the problem doesn't seem to go away. This is the problem. The problem of the problem not going away is the problem of the human being. Correct? So, that being the case, the teacher is trying to solve a problem that does not exist. Like this Ajnana Sarpadashta. And so, an extra ounce of compassion is needed for that person. And so that is why even when we chant, what do we say about Shankaracharya? Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badaranam Sutra Bhasha Krito Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. Karunalayam. We say Karuna. Because without Karuna, these things just cannot happen. Cannot happen. There is no rule that says this should happen. So Karuna, extra ounce of compassion is needed. And so in this particular Guru poorNimA, we invoke Vyasa. Vyasa we saw during the introduction, Dhyana Shloka of the Bhagavad Gita when we studied. We saw Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe, Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra, etc. So the importance of Vyasa in our tradition, and the one who has written the Mahabharata, Bharata Taila Purnaha, Prajvalito. So one whose intellects was so vast, and that provided the oil for lighting this lamp of Mahabharata. right? That's what, if you recall, we studied. And then he wrote the Puranas. He's the author of the Puranas. He's the author of the Mahabharatas. He's the editor of the Vedas. What to talk of? Then Brahma Sutra is there. Even if nothing else was there, only Brahma Sutra was there, still Vyasa would have been the most revered. And so, such a, can you even say person? I feel so shy of saying Vyasa was a person. It's an avatara. So, Ishvara, Sakshat Ishvara. So, Vyasa in our tradition was the one who is invoked during this Guru poorNimA, and therefore this poorNimA is called Vyasa poorNimA. And another important thing happens during Vyasa poorNimA. Many traditional sannyasis, they take a vow. They have a vrata. Vow means vrata in Sanskrit. It's called Chaturmasya Vratam. Chaturmasya Vratam. And a sannyasi is not supposed to stay in the same place. It's a very interesting tradition. Not supposed to stay in the same place. What kind of idea is that? Everybody lives in one place. And what do you mean by not staying in the same place? They say because that person can get attached to that place. And I'm sitting in this corner in this room. Now I'm beginning to like this place. Now I've set up nicely all this background and all. I spent 15 minutes doing all this before the class, and I sleep in this. Actually, there's a mat, and I put the mat. I'm struggling. How do you hang something without a hanger? This is my struggle. This thinking is like that. And in the other room there, I used to hang it on the windowsill. I bought a couple of hooks, and then on top I put it, and then I put a clip on that, hanging a clip, and then I hooked my mother's saree on those two clips. So that is how I used to have that red saree behind me. But here, sitting in my parents' home and sitting in this living room, I was lost. I don't know. You can stick all these hooks and all that. It's possible, but I was not in the mood to do that. So finally, this brilliant idea came to me. Then I put this mat, the mat on which we sit, we lie down, etc. I put it vertically and hung this cloth on it. So we begin to like everything we do. We set up our room in such a way that we like it, and we love our home. So east or west, home is best, they say. And so home is best. And the sannyasi said, you don't have a home. You can't really, you have nothing that you can get attached to. This is a tradition. This is a very interesting tradition. We need to spend time on this. What kind of a tradition is this? Why would they encourage giving up? Giving up, why they would encourage? Give up everything, give up everything. If you are everything, the only way you can see that you are everything is by giving up everything. Is it possible? Is this possible? This kind of thinking, this kind of talk, where else in the world they will talk like this? In order to be everything, you have to give up everything. Correct? You think about it. So they say this monkey put its hand in this pot because it had some food was there, peanuts was there, and it went inside, grabbed it, and then it's trying to get the hand out. Hand doesn't come out, and it's running around. Hand doesn't come out. Now it's scared, it's anxious, and it's trying to pull harder. Hand is sealed, perfect, doesn't just come out, and it's walking around with its hand, this pot hanging from its hand. Somebody has to come and say, you relax first. A pranayama has to be taught to this monkey, right? Sit down first. Sit down is a big exercise because a monkey, there's no sitting down for a monkey. Monkey cannot sit down. Have you ever seen a sitting down monkey? Constantly, even sitting down, constantly doing something. So big task is there. So You have to give up in order to be everything. So this, our sannyasis used to lead those kinds of lives. And so this Chaturmasya Vratam is a time when they actually stop moving. When they say, I'm going to stay in this one place. Generally, rainy season starts now in India. And so during rainy season, because the sannyasi has made a vrata towards ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting any being, any living being. And insects will be there everywhere. Flies are there everywhere during rainy season. So I will be doing a lot of himsa if I walk around in this weather. So this Chaturmasya Vratam has come into being. And so they just stay in the same place. They can decide where they stay. Sometimes they will leave the ashram and stay in some other place for 2 months. Okay, this also they do. So Kanchi, Acharya, they stayed in Chennai sometimes Bangalore. So Shringeri Acharya, once he stayed for 2 months in Chennai, remember. So they do things like that. So amazing. That shows the power of this knowledge, the importance of this knowledge, the significance of it. And so that there is no way you can tether the person. No way you can offer or attract the person to this or that. Not possible. So getting attracted. So so all this idea of tonsuring the head, all that comes from this idea of being attached to things. The one that we are most attached to is our own body, the way it looks. We preserve it. We love it. We love our body and our hair. All these things we love. So they say, go to Tirupati and then offer this hair to Ishvara. From a young age, they do it. So the child gets used to that idea. And so no longer is not that attached to this so-called hair, or looks and all that. Looks becomes secondary. Very important tradition it is. Something that's just still mind-boggling to me. So, as we conclude this, we are invoking the Guru Parampara, the entire teaching tradition on this day called Guru poorNimA or Vyasa poorNimA. And the word Guru, you can now see Mahavakya Upadesha Karta. How can there be a translation of the word Guru into English? And so, English language being so generous, they simply borrowed the word Guru. And so the only translation for the word Guru is Guru. Guru. So you are my Guru. Jakamaji, you are my Guru. Sometimes the kids will say that. In America, the kids are not shy. They will just speak their mind. And you have to deal with all these things. All parents, they deal with this all the time. Of course, not just America. Even kids are generally free. And so, you are my Guru. So, no translation for that word. And that's just as good. Let it be like that. And so they use the word Guru, for somebody who's an expert in something. They say, so this programming Guru, etc. They use the word. I've seen that. So, or sometimes they will say, in the office they will do that. Hey, she is the Guru. You have come to the right person, So it makes me feel good. Oh, they've come to talk to me like that. So that tells us a lot that the word Guru means something special, and it has that meaning even in the Western tradition. And so, as I conclude, I want to invoke this doha that I learned when I was in school. Kabir ka doha, Kabir Das. Kabir Das, a poet who lived in the 500 years ago, 15th century or something. And many dohas he had written. We used to study. Our Hindi master used to compassionately teach it. Because people like me struggling with Hindi all the time, barely passing the exam, 36 or something was pass mark. I would barely pass. And so he would come and talk. I still remember him. So, Guru Gobind Do Khade. काके लागों पाए, बलिहारी गुरु आपने, गोविंद दियो बताए. I think that's what it is. I'm just recalling it. Some words here and there I may have missed. So Guru Gobind do khade. Guru and Ishvara, Govinda have come in front of me and they're standing. Both of them have appeared in front of me. Kake lagon pai? Who should I do namaskar first? Big dilemma for this devotee. And big dilemma is there. Because if I do here, then this dilemma is there. So he's asking that question. He's expressing that dilemma. And then he says, so, Balihari Guru Apne, Govind Diyo Milai. Hey, it's obvious. I have to do namaskar to Guru. Why? Because if were it not for the Guru, I could not even have recognized Govind. Look at that. Okay, otherwise I'll ask for ID card, Aadhaar card, batao. Yeah, I'm constantly, I'm a suspicious guy. I don't believe on these things. So Aadhaar card. So he says, Guru. So it's obvious I have to do namaskar to Guru. And so beautiful, Kabir Das. What a nice doha is written. And it all comes from our tradition. So with that, I want to invoke our tradition that Guru Parampara, Sadashiva Samarambha, till my own Guru, Swami Dayananda Ji, and many sannyasis, many swamis. How many swamis have helped us teach the same thing and at the same time helped us see. And so important, I invoke the grace of Dakshinamurti, grace of Pujya Swamiji, grace of Swami Vitatmanandaji, Swami Sadatmanandaji, and so many Swamis we have come in contact with and we've heard, and so that they may bless all of us in this journey. They brought us here together, which is a miracle, and we acknowledge that miracle, and we pray that all of us continue to study the Shastram, and we pray that any obstacles that come in the way are temporary, and they may come, but they should also go away. So with that prarthana, I want to conclude this hour. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.